What happens when the silent hero of the internet, who is loved by millions, suddenly becomes a controversial role model? With just his facial expressions and basic motions, Khaby Lame, the formerly adored face of social media, rose from an unemployed Italian factory worker to the top spot on TikTok in terms of followers. During the pandemic, his relevant comedy instantly made him a worldwide celebrity. But as his notoriety grew, so did the difficulties, disputes and criticism. In this video, we'll investigate the dark side of social media stardom that contributed to Khaby's abrupt fall from popularity and discover why the internet's initial admiration for him turned to hatred. The pressure of constant content creation, the increasing feeling of oversaturation, is another element that has contributed to Khaby's decline from grace. Given how random social media users may be, many of them thought they had seen enough of Khaby's formula. Many followers started to lose interest in his trademark replies, which at one point felt fresh and funny. Khaby's originality started to fade as numerous artists adopted his aesthetic or rode the same wave of viral reactions. Moreover, as Khaby's fame increased, the analysis of his individual and occupational decisions also grew. The more people knew about him, the more they demanded perfection. Some critics charged him for selling out or losing his genuine touch, pointing out that his humor was no longer as relevant. Some countered that he was not developing as a creative and had grown overly dependent on his initial gimmick rather than trying new things or changing. The idea that Khaby had peaked and was no longer providing anything novel or interesting grew as a result of all these things. Some of the most vocal critics of his alleged deterioration were the same admirers who had formerly cheered his ascent. Accusations of selling out. Khaby Lame's downfall can also be attributed to the claims that he sold out. His celebrity rose, and with it came sponsorships and brand partnerships. Although it's normal for social media celebrities to profit from their fame, there's a thin line separating wise business choices from excessive marketing. It appeared to many of Khaby's supporters that he had passed that boundary. Khaby began to show up in an increasing amount of sponsored material, working with well-known companies and even high-end labels like Hugo Boss. His genuine personality began to fade as he was linked more and more to well-known endorsements and commercials. His followers started to feel that he had changed from the approachable, real guy who made fun of the ridiculousness of viral material. Rather than building a relationship with his audience, he was suddenly perceived as just another influencer who was utilizing his position to earn money. Fans started blaming him for losing the core of what first made him popular, which sparked a wave of hostility due to this notion that he was selling out. Many believed that the honesty that initially hooked them to his work had been replaced by a well-curated image that prioritized financial gain over sincere human connection. Critics contended that he was putting brand alliances ahead of the artistic improvisation that typified his previous videos. Furthermore, a few fans voiced worry that Khaby's move into commercial partnerships diminished the spontaneity and comedy that first connected with viewers by making his videos seem less real and more produced. Many of his fans started to wonder if he would ever be able to regain his initial attractiveness as he became more and more involved in the influencer marketing industry. There is now a gulf between Khaby and his supporters, who originally hailed him as a welcome addition to the social media scene, as a result of the growing sense of betrayal within his fan base. Cultural criticism and misunderstandings. Khaby Lame's sudden change from a globally popular person to one who is hated wasn't due to commercialization or content fatigue alone. Misunderstandings about culture are a major contributing factor to the backlash. Though his non-verbal sketches transcend language barriers, Khaby's humor is strongly entrenched in his unique heritage as a Senegalese Italiano. However, not every cultural perspective will find resonance with his sketches. Some of his videos were viewed through different cultural lenses as his content reached a global audience, and not everyone thought they were humorous or innocent. His silence was occasionally misconstrued as mocking or insensitivity toward particular groups or civilizations. For instance, humor that depends on mistakes can be interpreted in some cultures as disrespectful or illogical, which can result in charges of tone deafness. Furthermore, the way social media virality works might make these misconceptions more widespread. Because of the rapid dissemination of criticism on social media, Khaby was quickly branded as offensive or tone-deaf by some organizations after a few misinterpreted videos, even if it was frequently unjustified. This response was a major factor in his reputation being damaged. Furthermore, some fans saw Khaby's move from his original, relevant material to collaborations with businesses and other influencers, which fueled the idea that he had sold out. The combination of cultural misinterpretations and commercialization led to a perfect storm of criticism, his popularity drew attention, and the pressure to continue appealing to a wide range of people made managing cultural sensitivities all the more difficult. In the end, Khaby's story emphasizes the difficulties of becoming famous in a globalized digital world where humor and intentions are frequently misunderstood and can have a negative impact on one's reputation. The cancel culture effect. We must also discuss how cancel culture contributed to Khaby Lame's unexpected end. Public personalities tread a delicate line in today's hyper-connected world, where even the slightest mistake may spark fury. Khaby experienced this effect, much like many other influencers. Although there wasn't one event that precipitated his cancellation, a number of minor disputes did over time. The internet began to turn against him, whether it was because of a poorly received collaboration, a misinterpreted joke, or his hesitation to address certain societal issues. Some users investigated his background in an effort to create an excuse for their dislike for him. Others criticized his decision to remain mute on political issues and accused him of not using his influence for social good. His fame brought increased scrutiny, and cancel culture simply hurried the transformation of admiration into contempt. Envy and the curse of success. Envy was a simple component that contributed to Khaby's resentment as he became more successful. It's no secret that people sometimes exhibit their worst traits when they succeed on social media. Many began to dislike Khaby Lame's success as he rose in fame, fortune, and influence. Some felt it was unfair that someone who hardly talked and produced easy-looking movies was getting so much attention and wealth. The story that Khaby had stumbled into celebrity added to this sense of injustice. People started to wonder why someone with what some considered to be little effort was rising to such a high position. Internet celebrities frequently express the same theme. Once you become successful, there is always a crowd ready to bring you down. Due to his quick rise, Khaby became the object of jealousy, which led to hatred and jealousy on social media. In addition, these emotions are exacerbated by the features of social media. People who use social media platforms such as Instagram and TikTok are always in a habit of comparing themselves with others. Some people felt jealous as the number of followers of Khaby increased, and that is why they wanted to insult him to feel better. Due to the psychological effect of social media, some people find it easier to vent their frustrations on successful people than it is to deal with their own fears, which can turn admiration into hatred. Furthermore, the idea that Khaby's material is easy and uncomplicated gave rise to criticism that questioned the significance of his achievement. Many claimed that they disregarded his talent and inventiveness, since his videos focus more on relatable circumstances and visual humor than on intricate production or complex storytelling. This oversimplification of his work ignored the talent needed to convey comedy and ideas without using words. Khaby's ascent was therefore interpreted by detractors as evidence of the decreasing quality of online content, which served to intensify the backlash against him. The social media culture and false beliefs about his work combined to create a perfect storm of hatred for Khaby Lame. As he prospered, the criticism grew more intense, demonstrating how success in the digital era can elicit not only respect but also deep hate. The internet's short attention span. The short attention span of the internet is another factor to take into account. Users of social media are never satisfied with what's new and exciting. It's only a matter of time until fans move on to something or someone new after a creator hits their pinnacle. This cyclical nature of social media fame may have contributed to Khaby Lame's unexpected decline in popularity. Khaby's original sense of comedy became antiquated as new authors with original ideas and fresh content surfaced. Even while he was still producing content, the buzz that accompanied his initial ascent had vanished. It's difficult to remain current in this fast-paced digital environment for very long, and Khaby's content, which was once adored by millions, became old news. Dealing with the backlash. How, however, has Khaby Lame responded to this recent upsurge in hostility? He deserves praise for refusing to let the hatred define him. Khaby is calm and concentrated on his work. Despite the fact that the internet seems to be against him, he still makes silent jokes, and he has mostly refrained from directly addressing the issues. One may interpret this in two ways. Either he's choosing to ignore the criticism and remain loyal to himself, or he's passing up the chance to address the issues raised by his audience and build rapport again. An appropriate apology or explanation can make a big difference for a lot of influences. Khaby's choice to remain silent nevertheless might possibly have been calculated, since his whole brand is based on non-verbal cues. Directly addressing the problem could not be in line with his persona. Nevertheless, it is yet unclear if this tactic would prove effective in the long run. In end, Khaby Lame's ascent to online prominence coincided with his rapid fall into trouble. His journey exposes the ugly side of social media popularity, going from being an online hero adored by millions to a figure caught in the crossfire of cultural misunderstandings, jealousy, and the pressures of content creation. Online celebrity is temporary. The same medium that makes someone a household name can also swiftly make them the object of scorn. Khaby's tale isn't finished, though. There's always a possibility for redemption when the interests of viewers change and fresh controversies fade. Whether Khaby can once again rise above the din and establish a connection with his audience remains to be seen.